Hello, welcome to the Investors Corner, where we explore hidden treasures. I am your host, Tex Stephen Ogut. Our topic for today is the role of diaspora community in promoting the country's image and lobbying for developmental projects to be implemented back home. Joining me from London via Zoom is a well-established technocrat who served in various diplomatic dockets in the past. Her brief bio is that she served as the Director for International Organization Directorate or Department at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the Republic of South Sudan. And prior to holding this position, she has also served in other dockets such as the Director for Human Rights, Gender, Child and Social Welfare. She also served as the Director for East Africa Community Department at the same Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, which she works closely with South Sudan East Africa Community Secretariat. Between the year 2011 and the year 2012, she was the acting permanent representative of South Sudan to the United Nations in New York, USA. Still on her bio, she had previously worked as the Director of Culture, Community and Consular Affairs for the government of the then Southern Sudan Mission in the United States of America before independence, which later became the Embassy of the Republic of South Sudan in Washington, D.C., and the Permanent Mission of the Republic of South Sudan to the United Nations in New York. Still more about our guest of today. She was the member of the Board of Directors for South Sudan's Women Empowerment Network, which was known as SWEN, where she had served as board chairperson from the year September 2014 to the year January 2018. She has a diverse history of work experience in diplomacy and conflict management, community organizing, negotiations, and advocacy on behalf of so many others. Now, she is currently holding the position of the head of mission of the Republic of South Sudan to the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. She comes with extensive experience and expertise. Now, I already know you're thinking who this is, and as I continue to welcome her to this program, and without further ado, allow me to welcome Her Excellency Ambassador Agnes Uswaha, who is South Sudan's ambassador to UK. Ambassador, welcome to Investors Corner, where we explore hidden treasures.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. How are you feeling, and the members of South Sudanese community in London, in UK, and in Europe in general?
Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Tech. As the SS, I am honored by this opportunity. And before I respond to your questions, I would like to register a sincere appreciation to His Excellency the President, General Salva Kiir Mayardit, and the people of South Sudan for the trust bestowed upon me to head our mission in London. So going back to your question, the diaspora here in the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland is a sizable community. There are a community that has participated in the referendum and in the history of our struggle.
Yes, Ambassador Agnes, I need you to take us briefly through your day-to-day duties of implementing South Sudan's foreign policy in Europe's most popular city of London, which is home to United Kingdom.
So basically, the mandate of the embassy is to further and strengthen the existing bilateral relationship between South Sudan and the United Kingdom. As you are aware, the United Kingdom is a historical friend of South Sudan since the time of colonialism. And also during our struggle, they have helped in various ways especially with the Comprehensive Peace Agreement, the CPA, its implementation that led to the referendum, which led to the secession or the declaration of South Sudan as an independent state in July 2011. My role here is to engage the UK government, advancing our foreign policy, and also to look to cultural, economic, and other cooperations between the two countries. For instance, I hold meetings with other diplomatic head of missions and higher commissioners here in London, meaning also not only working with the United Kingdom, but I also further our policy and interests with other countries that are accredited to the United Kingdom, including various international organizations that are accredited here.
And Ambassador, I understand you are still new in this position of being ambassador of South Sudan to UK. You just, left South Sudan recently, and one of the most noticeable things that you have done since you went to UK recently is that as the country had celebrated the 10th independence anniversary of this year in July 9th, your embassy has done a tremendous job in celebrating or commemorating the 10th independence anniversary of South Sudan, and you played a key role in championing the whole process. Could you briefly tell us how it was in Europe and in particular in London while you and your staff at the Embassy of South Sudan conducted this day?
Indeed. So I arrived here in March of this year, which is a year later to my original date of arrival due to COVID-19. And I presented my credentials to Her Majesty the Queen on June 8th of this year. So that was the ceremony. But have assumed my duties as of March. In relation to the diaspora, the embassy reached out to them to ensure that they are involved in our various processes, such as advancement of the foreign policy, such as being a part or contributor to the nation building. As you are aware, the diaspora are the seventh front. So the diaspora in the UK, in addition to other diaspora in their respective host countries, have played a tremendous role in our struggle. Here in London, we ensured that the community was part of the organizing committee. So we held a general meeting through Zoom due to COVID-19 pandemic. Through that meeting, the community was able to appoint or to select or second some individuals that became part of the working group, which is comprised of the embassy and the community at large. So this group worked together in terms of planning for the July 9th independence celebration, which is our 10th anniversary that we couldn't miss, but to do all we could to ensure that it happens despite the pandemic. So we were able to hold it online via live stream media, which includes Zoom, Facebook, our website, YouTube, and other media outlets. And also, because of the restrictions, we were able to have a group of about 30 individuals here at the embassy. So we had two events running concurrently, one online and one at the embassy. And also, we were pleased or honored by greater participation. For instance, the Friends of South Sudan here in the United Kingdom were present in the event via online, and some of them were here with us at the embassy. And also we had South Sudanese diaspora from different continents, such as those who were in Australia, in the United States, Canada, and across Europe here, they were able to log in and enjoy the moment with us online.
Ambassador, yes, I'm sure you guys are doing a great job out there representing the country. But could you go, I would like to ask you to go a little bit further into technicalities of how you conduct your work in the foreign country in representing the image of the country. Can you briefly tell us how the Embassy of South Sudan in UK is playing its role in promoting the cultures of South Sudan at that level, and also furthering and pushing the agenda and the interests of the Republic of South Sudan?
Yeah, our interest is heavily pushed through the United Kingdom Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. So we worked with them. Our initial or gate through the Ministry of Foreign Office is the Office of the Special Envoy. So the Special Envoy to Sudan and South Sudan. So we worked with him closely. In addition, we also have a closer communication with other embassies and other bilateral groupings. For instance, South Sudan is a member of African Union Head of Missions ambassadors here in London, and we meet monthly. So through that group, we are able to advance our policy. So we do it bilaterally, and not only with the host country, but as well countries that are accredited to the Court of St. James's.
Yes, Ambassador, recently South Sudan has dispatched a delegation to Glasgow in UK to participate in the COP26. I would like to ask you about the importance of participation of South Sudan in such a climate summit level. But maybe before you could answer that, let's just go for a short break. And when we come back, you will highlight us more on this topic. And it is from this point that Investors Corner takes a short break. Stay tuned. We'll be back to talk more about these issues shortly. There are plenty of investment opportunities in this world's youngest nation of South Sudan. To better understand the economy and explore the thriving market of this country, you ought to get out of your comfort zone. You either hustle under the scorching sun in Konyo Konyo market, run errands at a small or medium business enterprise, or better yet, chair a conglomerate board meeting at a high-end tower in Juba. While awaiting an official business trip to the region. Whatever you do, just don't rest. Work hard, think big, and be smart in order to count all your economic blessings through this weekly business show of the Investors Corner, exploring hidden treasures. Join us every week at this time. Hello, welcome back. This is the Investors Corner, where we explore hidden treasures. I am your host, Tex Stephen Ugut, and as I mentioned earlier, that in this episode, I'm glad to be joined in this episode by none other than Ambassador Agnes Antlino Orifa Uswaha, South Sudan's ambassador to the United Kingdom. Welcome back, Ambassador.
Thank you.
Yeah, before the break, I was asking you about South Sudan's recent participation in the just concluded COP26 climate summit in Glasgow, United Kingdom. Can you briefly take us through the experience and how it was, and most importantly, tell us about the importance of participation of a country like South Sudan, a young country, participating at the global level at these very important summits that are determining the future of young generation. Can you tell us what is the importance of that COP26 climate summit in Glasgow, and what did South Sudan benefit from it?
For the United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP26, the Republic of South Sudan was invited. So the invitation came from the president of COP26, His Excellency President General Salva Kiir Mayardit, who was unable to make it due to some undergoing pressures. So he delegated the Honorable Minister of the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Honorable Napon, Honorable Josephine Napon Cosmos to lead the delegation. And also, due to a medical emergency, she was not able to make it. And we were honored to have the participation of the Deputy Minister of Finance and Planning, Honorable Agok, Makur Kur Agok, and also Honorable Lily Albino Akol Akol, the Deputy Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, leading our delegation to the COP26 in Glasgow, Scotland. So the embassy here, of course, who is mandated or is in charge of the facilitation procedures, was able to do the preparation that it could to ensure that our delegation are accredited and all that they need are in place in terms of participation. So this conference is very crucial to the Republic of South Sudan. As you have seen it, Mr. Tech, we are faced or we are directly impacted by the drastic changes of the climate catastrophes, such as floods that the nation has been experiencing for the last 3 years, droughts, excessive heat waves. We are faced with extreme weather conditions as a result of the change in climate. So the COP26 aim or overall ultimate or utmost goal is the reduction of carbon dioxide to 1.5 degrees Celsius goal worldwide. Basically, the big emitters of carbon dioxide have to cut down their emissions. And when you compare it to South Sudan, which is a developing and a young state, like our emission is barely there. However, we are on the receiving end of the climate change catastrophes.
And what? Yes. One more thing, apart from the participation of South Sudan in that summit, something else is that UK, where you are the head of mission for South Sudan, is supporting the government and the people of South Sudan in so many activities back home in South Sudan. Just to mention a few, one of them is the GUESS program, the Girls Education South Sudan, which is supported by British. Can you tell us about how you, at your capacity as South Sudan's ambassador in UK, playing a role to ensure such a program is continued and it is improved to reach a higher level so that the young girls in South Sudan can benefit from this program?
So these are part of the cultural, educational, political, and economic cooperations that I alluded to. For instance, the U.S. the United Kingdom is assisting in the area of education, area of health, and basically through humanitarian package. And also they also participated or contribute to the United Nations mission in South Sudan. Last year, they had a contingent deployed in Juba. And you know that the United Kingdom's it's a veto member of the UN Security Council among the 5 permanent states, and also is a member of Troika. So our relationship with them is not only bilateral, but it also impacts the multilateral aspects. And with that, we do appreciate the United Kingdom for the support that they are giving us, especially now that we are faced with flooding, which is affecting the food security.
And also, Ambassador, I would like to know the role that your institution, or where you are representing South Sudan at that capacity of South Sudanese ambassador in UK, playing a role to improve the image. We all know that the image of South Sudan, the way it is portrayed in the Western media and at the international arena, is not as good as many of us would wish it to be. What role do you play at that level and your diplomats to ensure that the image of the country is portrayed separately and differently, or in a more better improved, so that more people would have interest in visiting South Sudan based on the image that you are presenting to them?
You really nailed it, Mr. Tech. Our main problem is narrative, the negative narrative, or the narratives that doesn't reflect what is happening in the Republic of South Sudan, or that doesn't even complement or appreciate the development in the Republic. So here, as an ambassador or head of mission, my role is to correct that narrative. I do that through various forums, such as having different interviews with different media houses, including the interview now I'm doing with you. And also the embassy got a chance to present an article commemorating our 10th anniversary to the Diplomat magazine. So this is some of the outlets that gives me, as the head of mission of South Sudan, to give a narrative, or to really tell the world what is happening in South Sudan.
And Ambassador, because of the time factor, I would like to give you a takeaway point where you can be able to share your message with the people of South Sudan, and most importantly, to share the message of South Sudan's diaspora community, not only in London but across Europe, through this platform of the Investors Corner.
Thank you so much for the opportunity again. For us here as the Embassy of the Republic of South Sudan to the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland, we urge the diaspora to remain peaceful, united, and to contribute towards nation building and complement the government's efforts in the Republic of South Sudan in terms of investment and other expertise that they could bring back to their motherland. So this is my message to the diaspora. And also, I would like to make emphasis that they need to contribute or zero their efforts in supporting the implementation of the revitalized peace agreement and democratic processes in the country, because the revitalized peace agreement would lead us to the national election, which is a democratic transition of power. So that's my encouragement, as well as a point of takeaway to the diaspora. They need to support the peace agreement.
Well, thank you very much, Ambassador Agnes Uswaha, for giving us your time and communicating to the Investors Corner and to SSBC and to the people of South Sudan via Zoom in this platform. Thank you very much, and thank all the people at the embassy. Convey the message of South Sudan to them. In the meantime, thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you, thank you. One people, one nation.
Indeed, one people, one nation. Thank you. And it is from this juncture that we wind up this informative edition and episode of the Investors Corner, where we explore hidden treasures. I've been your host, Stephen Ugut, wishing you a very good time.